Hi, everybody, and welcome to Inside Golf. I'm Harry Donahue. Today, I'm at Lulu Country Club, and we're talking the Gap Matches for 2024.
Gap's team matches date all the way back to 1897. Marion won that very first year and hopes to do it again this year. So does defending champion Huntington Valley and recent winners Lulu and Philly Cricket. We're going to go behind the scenes with the captains of those four clubs. How do they make their lineups? What are some of their favorite stories? And who do they think will be crowned champion for 2024 of Gap's historic team matches? The 27th season of Inside Golf is presented by Destination Montco Golf, the First Tee of Greater Philadelphia, the Philadelphia Association of Golf Course Superintendents, the Golf Association of Philadelphia, Gap, Jersey Man and Philly Man Magazine, and Inside Golf's partner since 1998, the Philadelphia section of the PGA.
Golf is the great equalizer. For many, this journey is an escape from reality, a chance to be part of a team, a career opportunity. PGA Reach impacts lives through golf by lifting people up, giving them hope, and sending them down an alternate path that they never saw coming. With PGA Reach Philadelphia, as in life and in golf, the most important shot you take is the next one.
The Golf Association of Philadelphia. Founded in 1897, GAP is the nation's oldest regional or state golf association. We serve amateur golf in Eastern PA, Southern New Jersey, and all of Delaware. GAP welcomes all golfers, junior or senior, male or female, public or private. Join the Golf Association of Philadelphia today. Our mission is always to preserve, protect, and promote the great game of golf. Before you tee it up, look us up. Visit gapgolf.org to find out more.
And welcome back to Inside Golf. We are assembled here finally under beautiful weather, sunny skies. Of course, the sun's always out at Lulu, and here we are today talking about the Gap Interclub matches. They've been around since the beginning of Gap. That goes way back. And here they are, another year. And I thought I'd get together with the captains of some of the teams to talk about their own personal history, their club's personal history when it comes to the Gap Interclub matches, and have some fun talking about some characters, some stories, and things that our viewers would like to know about Gap's Interclub matches. Let me introduce our panel. First of all, we have from Marion, Patrick Knott. He is the captain of the Marion team. Patrick, thanks for taking time out. I know we didn't have to bend your arm to get here, so you must really want to share some interesting stories, but thanks a lot for being here.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
All right. Next, we have Andrew Mason. Andrew's team won last year, right? Among the number one teams and all that at Huntington Valley Country Club. You look like you're young enough maybe just to have snuck onto the team, but you're the captain of the defending champs.
Thank you. Yeah, we got lucky against these guys. Really.
Hey, you need a little bit of luck in this game. From Philly Cricket and their captain, Conrad von Borsig. And Conrad, how long have you been the captain at Philly Cricket?
Just 2 years, yeah.
Really?
Happy to be back after last
You
year's
extended your
performance.
contract,
Yeah,
huh?
I think I'm on a year-to-year prove-it deal.
And Jim Sullivan, no stranger to Inside Golf. Sully is, it was kind of his idea to assemble here on the back deck. We'll have to duck maybe once in a while when not one of your team members, but somebody here at Lulu.
Some of my boys
spray one
have.
a little left. What hole is this
Some of
again
my
back here?
13, yeah.
13. 4. We'll hit the deck.
Some of our boys
Okay.
have peppered this patio.
There you go. Yeah, we have the dents to prove it. Let's talk about, let me go here with a little history. There's roughly 400 teams involved over the course of 3 weeks of competition. And each team has a varying number of players involved. And in your case, you have what, 6 teams?
Yeah, we have 6 teams, so 12 per team, so 72 players each Sunday. So.
Yeah, that's a lot of golfers. How about at cricket? How many teams?
Yeah, I think we have 5 teams, so about.
Each with 12 players?
Yep.
Okay. How about you, Andrew?
We have 5. I think we went to 5 a year or 2 ago.
And what's Marion fielding this year?
3 teams.
3 teams?
Yeah, we're the small guys. But.
Okay. All righty. But they'll all be competitive, I am sure. Some of the matches, half of them are played at your home courses, and then depending on what teams you're matched up again over the course of 3 weeks, there'll be somebody
So
from
at
Lulu
each
on the road.
each match, half of your team's home, half is away.
Right.
And so the same. So if we're playing Philly Cricket, we have 6 guys here and 6 guys at Philly Cricket, and they have the same. And then the total for that is the result for the match. So each week is a home and away.
When do you start preparing your lineup?
The night of the finals the year before, some of these guys they're pretty
Finals?
serious. Oh my God, the crew here is off the wall. First of all, they know the formula, so they know which teams will play the following year, and this is a secret formula. And then they start figuring out who's going to go where and how we're going to look next year, whether we win or lose. We've lost the last 2 years, and we won I think 3 years ago. And each time they start talking right away. Now the truth is, seriously, a couple weeks ahead of time you'll be trying to figure out who's on the first team, kind of where does the line draw of who's first, who's second, and go from there.
Conrad, is it safe to say that some clubs involved take it a little more seriously every year than others?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's do or die for some, and I think it changes over time too. So, I take cricket for example. In the last 10 years, we've won all of our titles, and we've had an influx of young guys, a lot of serious college golfers. So I think we're probably a club that's started to take it more and more seriously. While some may be in a different life cycle with that. I know Lulu's coming up, taking it very seriously, and I think like Patrick, Marion's really returned to the forefront of the conversation and probably gotten more and more guys to show up and taking it even more seriously.
And a lot of that, Patrick, how much of an influence does one guy like you have in terms of getting the culture enhanced a little bit?
Right. So we've tried to do some things to boost the culture under my watch, but I think a lot of the credit goes back to kind of the leadership of the club. A few years back, we had kind of been stuck in the second division, and kind of we got a group together and said, how do we get back up to the top division where we felt like we had the players to belong? And so we kind of put some things together on kind of whiteboard space and started to run with it, and it seems to work out. I think, you walk around the club now and people are constantly talking about team matches, which we didn't have probably 5-6 years ago, so it's been great.
Andrew, you had the bragging rights in this group. Your team, Huntington Valley, won last year in the top division. Tell us about that experience. I mean, going in, did you feel confident that you were in a position to win the whole thing?
Yeah, I mean, looking at when you go into team matches, especially in the top, like the AA top bracket, I think you kind of look at teams that everybody almost played D1 golf or D2. So everybody top to bottom, 1 through 12, is a pretty good golfer. You look around these clubs, I mean, the low on our teams may be around a 0. So I think you never can take things for granted, but at the club, it's been a pretty significant part of our history, and we take it seriously, and I think people want to come out and play. So, yeah, to answer your question, we definitely, we definitely take it seriously, but also, hope to play as well as we can. But when you're playing against a bunch of teams that all have past D1 golfers, anything could happen.
Anything can happen, yeah. Give me an idea on your team at Huntington Valley. How many plus handicap guys do you have in your first 1 or 2 teams?
Index-wise, it goes well into the second team. Then it turns into a course handicap 0. Looks like it's going to be kind of a swing guy this year. So our second team will go, you talk about our 24th, handicap ranked player. We don't always go by that, but that might go down to a 1. So we might have 15, 16 guys with plus handicaps. And, I'm sure it's different at all of our places, but
pretty much the same, I was going to say, with all the other 3 captains?
I would say we have more than that. It's a funny conversation. I think if you just printed out Lulu's, say top 50
indexes,
handicaps, I'll bet you get close to scratch or maybe 1 handicap in that 50th spot. Wow. It's a big number, and we all know handicaps are it's objective but sort of subjective. And the team that makes our top 24, say for our top 2 teams, they would be legitimate plus handicaps, I would say.
Because it's team competition, right? You have to have 2 guys from, say, cricket playing 2 guys from Lulu, both home and away. So what goes into the mix? The chemistry? Not everybody wants to play. Regardless of what you may think, not everybody's buddy-buddy with everybody, okay? And they play better maybe with somebody else. And then you have to make the call, right, after consulting with some of these players.
Yeah, I think during the regular season, you look a lot at what course somebody's comfortable playing at, what style of game they play, and who they like to play with, because a lot of the points are determined by the better ball portion. And we always say, if you win the better ball, you're probably going to win the individuals, at least one of them, and you're probably going to win the match. So you really focus on great twosomes that get along well with each other, that love the course they're playing.
It's almost like a mini Ryder Cup, Patrick. You know how the captain, like Zach Johnson, he took a lot, first of all, he took a lot of heat, and I don't know if he'll ever outlive it, on some of the people that he put on the team the last time in the Ryder Cup. Then how you match them up, you know? And if you get off to a terrible start early, oh my God, you know? So, you know, can you identify with that at all in your brief
I can
history?
to a degree. Like I said, I think the Ryder Cup team, they've got a lot of voices in their ear on kind of how to pair things together. They're looking at all sorts of stats. I know at Marion, kind of the first thing that we're trying to figure out is you get certain guys that have some conflicts maybe in an afternoon or something, and they want to play at home, or they need to play at home because they've got a kid's sports game in the afternoon. And so trying to look at that and then figure out kind of who they would pair well with, you know, and I think for all of us, the easiest place to try to win points is at home, because it's the one place you have the home course advantage. But at the same time, if you don't have the players that can play at home, then you kind of lose that home course advantage. So it's trying to kind of match that up a little bit.
Yeah, a lot goes into the mix. All right, we're going to take a break. Fellas, we'll be back to talk more on the gap matches. We're at Lulu with the captains from Marion and from Huntington Valley, Philadelphia Cricket, and our host, as he always is, Jim Sullivan from the Lou. Back more on the gap matches here on Inside Golf.
Hi, Tony Salucci with the Beacon Group of Companies. If your company has between 50 and 500 employees enrolled in your health insurance plan, there's a really good chance we can reduce your costs significantly and increase the benefits employees receive. How do we do it? We put you together with several thousand employers of a similar size across the country, so your company can get amazing buying power. Schedule a conversation with one of our employee benefits specialists today at mybeacongroup.com.
Welcome back. Inside Golf continues. We are talking about the gap matches. They've been around forever, and they're just going to be starting in a couple of weeks. We are with the captains of four clubs who are in the top division, from Marion, from Huntington Valley Cricket Club, and Lulu. And last year's winner was Andrew Mason's team from Huntington Valley. Let's pick up talking about the chemistry that's involved, and you know, who plays better at home, Andrew, who plays better away. Who are the three clubs you're going to be playing this year in the gap matches?
Yeah, so our bracket this year, and we were just chatting offline, Glen Mara, a little bit of a hike.
A little bit of a hike.
Godspeed to you.
We have a little bit of travel. Tavistock's always tough. Great atmosphere, really, really good guys, just like Glen Mara. And then we got Cricket, again, really good guys. We have their second team. So
is that a grudge match as far as you're concerned? They're all grudge matches, right? In some regards.
Yeah,
I mean, you want to win. You want to kick their butts.
I think like the thing about the gap matches is everybody's, we've all played golf with each other for 10, 15, 20 years. We know each other. You have some drinks afterwards, but you obviously want to compete against good players. So there are, I think the four of us, and maybe why we're here, is we have been in the finals the last 2 years. So, obviously we kind of feel lucky to get out of those regular brackets, but when we do, we've kind of been fortunate in the past. So,
Patrick Knott from Marion, where are your teams going to be up against? Who are they going to be playing in the three matches?
Yeah, so we're lucky on travel a little bit this year, where we've got Aronimink, DuPont, and then we come right here to Lulu to play their second team, which Jim's already scared me talking about their depth and low handicaps over there. So
okay. Now, coming from Marion, it's an iconic golf club worldwide. Do you usually get the best the other team has to offer in terms of like visiting clubs? Like, will Lulu send their best players like on Mike Brown out to Marion, or how does that figure out?
So you do get a little bit of that. At the same time, you've got to try to win that match. So you, like I was saying earlier, you've got your home course advantage, and you want to try to protect that a little bit. So you can't necessarily just send everybody over there, maybe that hasn't played Marion enough or hasn't been in a PAM or something like that. So
as the matches are going on, now are you going to be playing? Are you a playing captain, or you don't know yet?
I would like to
Stop.
think I'm a
He's
playing
playing.
captain.
He's playing?
He's
Okay.
playing.
Are you in contact to find out what else is going on elsewhere? When do you find out getting scores from where the guys you sent away are playing?
Yeah, so even in a regular GAP event, I'm not really a scoreboard watcher, so I just kind of put the phone away, and as soon as I finish up, I'll check the text messages and find out how things went.
And hopefully they're in the plus column.
Right, it's a little bit different being captain because you are thinking about how the teams you put together are playing, but it's a little bit easier to just kind of be a player and focus on your own game and say whatever happens, happens. But
Sure. Conrad, who is cricket going to be facing? I know we had sort of a preliminary discussion, and he was very descriptive in the way. How did you describe your three opponents? It's the cocktail tour?
Yeah, the cocktail tour.
There
we
you
got,
go.
Overbrook, always one of the funnest clubs in the Gap.
One
and
of
then
the best friends of the Pennsylvania, well, I won't get into that, but go ahead.
Yeah, no, love Overbrook. And then we've got White Marsh, so close by. Might visit the Locker House there. Always a good time. And then Saucon Valley, which, not around the corner, but beautiful place, and not a bad men's grill either.
For Lulu, now we already heard you're going to be playing against Marion. Who are the other two?
So Lulu has two teams in the top bracket, and our second team has Marion, Aronimink, and DuPont. First team has 1912, Ledge Rock, and Lanark. No particular order. So it's a good lineup for us. Good clubs, good courses, great guys at them. I know Lanark's the top of the list of the cocktail tour. I don't have the other ones rated very well.
And they do that one club that you were telling me, Conrad. They still do it, and they even bring in guys that weren't playing that day at Lanark from other clubs just to get involved. The one club is, you go out there, usually you have a beer or whatever under your belt, and it's one
7
club for how many holes?
I think they do like 1, 2, 3, 4, 17, 18, so probably 6 holes. Yeah,
Wow,
and they
makes it
go
for
out.
a long day. Huh?
You go out in a gang sum. 60 guys in one group.
And there's a little money in the pot for somebody,
$20.
even though this is an amateur.
I think most of those guys have lost track of time by the time they're on the second hole of that one club.
Yeah.
I don't think a long day matters at that point.
All right, Sully, you're going to lead it off. You're going to tell me about the first time you ever played in a GAP match. You were at Huntington Valley as a teenager.
I was.
You're on. Go ahead.
So I grew up, as my family remembers, at Huntington Valley, and I was getting to be decent, but I might have been 16 years old and a 2 or 3 handicap, and got a call from our second team captain asking if I could play, and I caddied in this stuff, and I loved the idea of playing and get the call. So I'm going to play for the second team and against Trenton, and I'm paired with Jim Castle. Now, Jim Castle, at the time, I'm 16 and probably 120 pounds. He would have been 60-ish.
He was a senior, yeah.
And one of these, like a Navy guy and a football and lacrosse player and super intense, right? So whatever, you're going to go out and play, and you're going to try to win, and I didn't think much about it. And on the 12th hole, my opponent has a 40-foot putt and putts it up to like 3 to 4 feet, right? Never going to be conceded, but the way I mumbled through telling him it was a good putt, I said something I said something about that's good, and he said, "Did you say that's good?" He did it totally legit, but I said, "Yeah," as though I was saying it was a good putt.
But you were really saying, hey, yeah.
So he picks it up, right? And I'm like, oh,
Now what do you
shoot,
do?
yeah, screwed up. Well, I've still got a 12 or 15-foot putt for birdie, and I happened to make my birdie putt. And I didn't really, at that age, we all know 16-year-olds, I had forgotten that I'd screwed up the gimme, but I'm happy I made my putt. We're walking off the green, and Castle grabs me right here with his vice grip and says, "Jimmy, you did the right thing. You screwed up giving him the putt, but you did the right thing." And I'm like, oh my God, I don't think I got it over the pond on the next hole. I was frozen.
Every time that you go out there and tee it up on the first hole, the next year of a GAP match, you think about Jim Castle.
Well, I don't know about
You
every
say to
time,
yourself,
but
I'm not saying anything.
No, we got into the giving and all that stuff. He was a great guy, and it's just one of those memories that stands out. I was really proud to be playing and happy to be playing, and then such a distinct memory. I mean, God, I might still be bruised bruised back here when he grabbed me. He's got this vice grip of a hand. It was
Conrad,
great.
you must have some, maybe not the similar story,
No,
but
yeah.
give me a story that sticks out in your history of gap matches.
Sure, yeah. I mean, when I think gap matches, I think bad weather, right? And so I think it was 2016 or 17. We were in the finals, the Final Four for the title, and I think it was, maybe Huntington Valley, Glenmora, ourselves, and Lanark, say. And I was scheduled to play Glenmora with myself, Joe April, and Jack Wallace, so 3 people from every club go up. And that morning, it was just an absolute monsoon. Every club canceled their matches for the day. Except for Glenmora.
There you go.
So we get in the car, we drive up. I think I left my house, it was like 52 degrees, and then we got through the tunnel there, which we call North of the Wall. If you've seen Game of Thrones, and it says 37 degrees, it's starting to sleet, and the nightmares are
You on the
kicking
phone
in.
like, are we still playing?
I'm like, I can't believe this. This is terrible. So sure enough, we get to the golf course, and it's shut off. It's like course is closed for the day. We just drove 2 hours up there. I said, I can't believe this. So we pull down around. We go to the pro shop. We're like, are you guys really closed? I mean, they said you were open. We're here for the gap matches. They were like, oh, yeah, no, the course is closed, but you're playing.
You're playing.
I was like, oh, my God. So you go to the first hole, and it's just pouring rain. They got squeegees out on every green going through, and it's going to rain the whole time, the whole 18 holes. And I get up there with this young whippersnapper, Kyle Strabinsky. He's for Huntington Valley. He was a star at Wake Forest, really good young player, right? And, it's probably 40 degrees and raining sideways. He has no rain gear, shorts, short sleeves, and 1 solitary rain glove, and he's just soaked. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be easy. This kid's completely unprepared. He goes on to shoot 6 under par without a bogey, swinging out of his shoes, launching balls down the middle all day. I got absolutely smoked. I mean, we ended up winning that year, I think is why it sticks in my mind. But that was probably the worst weather and the most fun I've had.
Do you have a shorter version of a similar story, Patrick?
Similar story. We were actually, now that I think about it, right across the street at Manufacturers, and I was playing with Kevin Cahill, who most of you know, who's a good player, and this is probably maybe around that same time period. And I'll just never forget, on the 10th hole out there, Kevin takes a swing on a similar day, and kind of we all are watching the club fly up about 60 yards behind him as the club flew out of his hands, and his golf ball had been popped up, and we lost the golf ball, but we found the club. So the golf ball didn't go far, but we couldn't find it. So.
All right. Well, listen, we're going to take a break. You got to have one story for us, Andrew, do you, that you can tell before we say goodbye to everybody? But not right now. We'll wait. All right, stay with us. We're going to hear from Andrew and his story of gap matches, his personal stories, and we'll wrap things up talking gap matches here on Inside Golf. Be back in a moment.
With so many affordable things to do in Montgomery County, PA, go ahead, freak out.
Welcome back. Inside Golf continues. Back deck here at Lulu. We're talking gap matches for 2024. We left off with some personal recollections. We're going to have one more from the captain at Huntington Valley, Andrew Mason. What's your best gap match story?
Every year, to Conrad's point, the weather's not good. So there, we had one where we played at Marion, and only team in Gap to play, only group, and it was in the finals, and that was crazy. But the one that sticks out, I'm with a good friend of mine, Sean Ryan. We're going up north of the wall, to Conrad's point. It's snowing, sleeting, the whole 9 yards, and we go up to Fox Hill, and we're just poised to get killed. I mean, I'm sleeping on the way up. I think, I was 21, came home from Temple. We're driving up, and we go and we play, and we're like, okay, we're going to, we didn't really know much about Fox Hill at the time. And we step on the tee, and, there's two guys that are in their late 60s, 70s, at least. And we get up there, and I know I lost 6 and 5, and my partner at least lost, Sean, no offense, but maybe 7 and 8. So, I mean, that's unfortunately my best story. Just going up north, Glenmar, who we have this year, Fox Hill, all those courses up there. They have a ton of good players you never heard of. And we went up just eyes wide shut and got killed.
Wow, how about that? Okay. All right, quick predictions. I'm sure nobody's going to come up with a scenario where you lose, but just to get you on the record. Patrick, is it time for Marion this year?
We hope so, but I was going to say my predictions are probably that these 3 teams will be very strong again.
Oh, there you go. He's the ultimate nice guy.
What a diplomat.
Patrick Knott from Marion. All right, Andrew, repeat.
You know what? We're going to try to field a good team and see what we can do. Depends who's available those weeks, but I think these guys are strong. Lulu, it's tough to figure out who plays one.
Right.
I mean, and
Conrad's got the cocktail tour to beat. You going to do it?
Yeah, I think we were the #1 scoring team in the regular season last year. A little disappointing in the finals, but we've worked through all our lineups. Yeah, I see a path to victory for us.
There you go. And you want to get back in the winner's circle from a couple of years ago.
It'll be a complete retool if we don't win it this year.
Uh-oh, what does John Russ have in mind for Jim Sullivan? You got another year on your contract?
I've got May 15th is my locked-in date. Once it's May 15th, if we don't have a title, he's looking around.
Stay tuned, folks. That may be a whole nother follow-up show. What happened to Sully? All right, Jim Sullivan, Conrad, Andrew, and Patrick, good luck to all of you with the gap matches. And yeah, maybe we should assemble again to see how it all turned out.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us, folks. We'll see you next week right here on Inside Golf.
The 27th season of Inside Golf is presented by Destination Montco Golf, the First Tee of Greater Philadelphia, the Philadelphia Association of Golf Course Superintendents, the Golf Association of Philadelphia, GAP, Jersey Man and Philly Man Magazine, and Inside Golf's partner since 1998, the Philadelphia section of the PGA.